please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Before we start, I'm not here tomorrow, as I'll be travelling to London to go see Windrose. Yes, diggy diggy hole. That means that this video is the only video you're going to get for 2 days. Sorry about that, but it is a little bit longer, so we have that to go with at least. It is taken from another person's channel who had clipped down Ian Joma, Idubbbz's criticisms of those criticising the likes of Hasan, his wife, you know, the standard stuff he does on Twitch, basically. The channel in question is called Stoic Chronicles. I will link the channel down below in the pinned comment. I highly recommend everyone go subscribe. Last week we did discuss Hasan using a shock collar on his dog. Hasan has stated, no guys, it's not. More clips have then surfaced of him admitting to treating his dog like an object. To me that is not right, and it's not okay. I say this surrounded by dogs who you regularly hear balking in the background. Hell, I do shorts of them laughing at them because they're balking. Why are they balking? No one has any idea. They get cuddles, they get treats, they get played with, all the todding time. It's even a thing on Twitch with my points, the channel points, where I will give dogs fussings for points. Although let's face it, one of them's on my lap all the time anyway. They're always getting fussings. Nothing to me is more important than them. And I'll include the content, so if they happen to feature in the content, so be it. I'm not going to be mad at them for that. It is not their fault. Let's see what Ian has to say on the subjects that we have already alluded to. As he is fast becoming one of the bestest lolcows around, his cope and seethe is quite nourishing.
The man has got a button to protect himself from this exact thing. Totally. Yeah, the button is a like therapy replacement, basically. Like, he doesn't need to figure out what he believes and what should or shouldn't come out of his mouth. There's no sense of control. There's just spewing, and he wants to solve it with money. He can't solve it with money.
If we're talking about the case concerning himself, Ethan that is, and the 3 thieves, then money does certainly resolve the issue. Your hate boner for Ethan has made you quite the amusing creature, I won't lie. And I mean amusing creature because not much you say or do amounts to anything else. It doesn't contribute to the discussion, it just shows where you've decided, with your wife's permission, to draw that line in the sand. You're big brave, but based on your boxing ability, that's all it is. You're all mouth, no trousers. You do after all throw left hooks like you're blind.
This comment says, CPS is literally meant to protect kids, bro. How the f is he so traumatized? Ego a bit bruised? Ethan will be like, how dare you call Child Protective Services when you fear for the well-being of a child so they can decide if it's worth a visit and come with a clipboard and make sure that that child is okay. I mean, whatever he can use to victimize himself. Stoic. He will.
Please tell me that was the creator, Stoic Chronicles, that put the word stoic there, because that's so fitting for what Ian has been doing of late. To downplay things by saying he's stoic, guys. Did you not know? He's stoic. You know you've made it as a lolcow, by the way, when there's an entire channel with your quaint little catchphrase, which has now become your catchphrase anyway, as a descriptor for who you are. I think Crybaby would have been more appropriate.
Do it. But then he will simultaneously make plenty of jokes, kind of indicating that he doesn't actually give a f about any of it. Ugh. My reaction.
I swear at this point, you should just rebrand from Idubbbzz to something else. Because what Idubbbzz was and what Idubbbzz is now is a shell and or parody of what Idubbbzz once was. It is possible because of the years going by, instead of your mind sharpening and your ability to speak becoming a bit more clear, you took far too many headshots from your quaint attempts at boxing.
The thing that's most wild to me through all of this is that Dan is somehow still producing. I mean, I would like to think at this point that the people on the show, particularly Dan, who's been around for a long time, that they've saved their money and they have a big pile of cash in the bank so they could, I don't know, reasonably just dip at any point in time.
You know, I wished the same for you when you decided to make the decisions you made, to divert from what you once were to allow Anissa to dictate who you are. But since you live with her parents now, it's unlikely to be the case. I fully expect you to make some other changes in your not-so-distant future after Anissa divorces you.
And build something different with their lives? I don't know. Like, I know it's hard to find a job, and you know, anything's got to be better than this. Like, I don't know. I think they're Stockholmed a bit, and they don't realize how truly terrible it is.
Unless you have some verbal confirmation from the people you are referring to that work with Ethan Klein, you are theorizing with no merit, no basis, or anything to back it up. It is all asserted and assumption. I have said repeatedly, many times, assumption is the mother of all effed up choices. It is applicable here. If you're going to make an assertion, at least have something worthwhile to base it on. Otherwise, it's a load of trash.
Do you see Charlie's video? So disappointing. Yeah, it's like, I would prefer, like, again, everyone can keep their mouth shut about Israel and Palestine.
I assume we're not going to talk about the ceasefire that President Trump was instrumental in helping to get across a line. Although we would be right to point out it's unlikely to stick because that area of the world is just volatile. And I'm going to also say that while I earlier stated assertions, you know, not really useful, everyone has a right and should be allowed to speak on something even if they're ignorant. It's ignorant.
A lot of these commentary channels, they can do it for so long. Hey, you got to remember, if you can do that for so long, you can also not comment on this shit as well. You know, you can. It's fine. You know, you don't have a good take, you keep it to yourself.
What is or is not a good take is entirely subjective. Therefore, everyone should have the right to speak, irrespective of another person interpreting it as a bad take. It happens all the time, to everyone, everywhere, honestly. As far as I'm concerned, Charlie has had some weak takes of late. He has had some. But generally, he is on the right side of most arguments. Does that mean I want him to stop talking even when he's not on the right side, or when I believe he's not on the right side? No, of course not. It just reminds me he, like everyone else, is prone to what is considered human, and therefore by extension, stupidity. Because everyone has a qualification in stupidity, nobody has a qualification in common sense.
I'm still waiting on the results of that skull investigation by the FBI. I am too. I think we all are. No one on the show is redeemable. We all need to stop making excuses for them. They made their beds. Oh yeah, no, I agree. Me saying I don't understand why they don't just take their big pile of money and leave, is me saying, like, I don't understand what's wrong with them.
First of all, you assume they have lots of money in the first place. If they live in California, no such pile of money exists and you know it. Second, you also assume that they don't like working with Ethan. Third, you assume that they behind the scenes have not come to an agreement on beliefs. Fourth, you're Ian. Your opinions are like your wife's, rejected. Although hers are rejected because OnlyFans.
And also, they can still leave the show. It's not like they don't have autonomy at this point. Man, I can't keep up with the comments. Uma showed it brightened and there was no tape. It's all bonkers. Yeah, that's what I heard. I saw a little bit of Uma's video, and he was showing that, I don't know, some live stream people or someone was, like, fabricating a screenshot, and it couldn't be replicated to show that there was tape over it or whatever.
I'm going to bring back a classic and press X to doubt. But that has often become the case with a lot of what Ian presents as content these days from his live streams. A lot of doubt. He be stoic? I doubt that. He be his own man? I doubt that. He have opinions that are his own? I very much doubt that.
It's so, and this is what happens, right? When you're in a position like Hasan's in, and like many people find themselves in online, there is this point to which, like, the conspiracies don't stop and the accusations don't stop. So, like,
do you believe then, Idubbbzz, it's okay for an exceptionally large dog to be consigned to a bed for a 4 to 8 hour live stream, barely ever able to leave the bed because they fill a space within his backdrop, when a plushie could surely do that job better, or some taxidermy? Do you think it's okay to train the dog continually with a shock collar that is illegal in California? He claims vibration collar. It has already been proven to be a shock collar. Is it a conspiracy at that point? No. If you took the collar off the dog and showed us, there was a chance he could have gotten away with vibration. Is it still okay? Not really. Why? Because his dog wants to get fuss from him. Kaya wants fuss from him, wants to be loved by him. Many videos since that shocking incident took place, no pun intended, have shown just how little he thinks of dogs anyway. He doesn't care if they're inbred, it's just a dog. If they're shocked, don't matter. It's just a dog. It's just an effing dog, guys. Calm yourselves down, it's just a fucking dog. The majority of us on the internet are big dog lovers. We love dogs. In fact, you'll find the majority of us prefer the animal kingdom over humanity, because humanity is a terrible, cancerous species.
Someone said, like, just show the collar on stream. He showed the collar on stream, and then all of those same people were like, well, not all those same people, but a segment of those people were like, that's not good enough to show the collar on stream.
You are right. Hasan did show everyone what the collar was, briefly. He was so flippant and quick with it, it was barely noticeable. Probably didn't help that he covered much of it up, in fact. Or were you not paying attention to that part? It was a shock collar. He knows if he'd shown us what it really was, he'd get into trouble with animal authorities in the state he's in, California, and he'd get into trouble with the state itself. I like how you've not provided your own perspective and thoughts on shock collars though as a conversation point, because you could have addressed that to tackle the problem yourself. You could pull up proof of it, what he showed it was, you could have proved that part and then shown the manufacturer, but no, you have to be on Hasan's side. Why? Because you, like many, are afraid of Hasan's audience, because of the toxicity and the poison that you're so willing to drink. Oh, and by the way, there's another aspect to the shock collar thing, Ian, that you seem to have forgotten. It's the fact the dog moves, he implements that shock collar. It doesn't matter. The dog puts 1 foot off the bed, the dog gets shocked and put back into the corner. They make a noise. Quit being a baby. Quit being a baby. He is an abusive pet owner and doesn't care about that dog in the slightest. And based on what he said about that dog, only his mother appears to. Which doesn't surprise me. He does seem to be a mummy's boy that gets jealous of it.
Now you have to give us a purchase receipt and show us, like, the exact, like, time it was purchased and all this sort of shit. So it's like, what the no.
Firstly, no one said that. Second, when it comes to saying no, I agree. You shouldn't have to use the collar in the first place. Even if it is a vibration collar, it is not required. It really isn't. Learn to be more positive and loving towards creatures around you that unconditionally love you. In this instance, a rather large dog that just wants to be loved by you, Hasan. But much like everything in your life that has a heartbeat, there is no love from you to them. Why? Because you're more interested in the views you get online than you are with what you have around you.
Go away. Like, you know, it ends up being like, I'm now going to, now that I have you on the ropes, I'm going to continue to, like, pressure you to do all of these things that isn't even going to satisfy you. I just want to, you know, mentally torture you.
So there are a couple points that can be addressed here. Firstly, if it mattered so much what the haters thought, you would make those changes. Or you would provide those receipts to clear your name. But since Hasan feeds on negativity, he needs it as much as he doesn't need it. There's quite a balance here. He needs it for relevancy because, let's face it, unless he has something useful to say that his audience have told him in advance, he has nothing useful to say. But if he goes in on those that dislike him, he has a lot to say. It gives him free content so he can then be more aggressive, assertive and nasty for a few more hours to get more out of his audience. And there are plenty within his audience, and because he's propped up by a lot of mainstream outlets, seriously Google his name, there are far too many articles on him that basically protect and fluff his ego. He is considered the pinnacle of what the left is meant to be. By the way, if the left is meant to be him, you guys are screwed. This is all one massive smokescreen and distraction, because then you start to go down a path of being unnecessarily pedantic over bits I don't care about. I care about the dog. I do not care about Hasan and his feelings.
Stoic. His take on your apology video said it all. Yeah, Moist Critical. He came out with what he thought I think was the correct take for my video, and then it was like, actually, it seems like I got this one wrong. It's just not needed. Neither one of those videos were needed in the first place.
According to you, perhaps. Your issue here is whether someone is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Anyone calling you out is wrong. That's your perspective. That's a very weak mentality to have.
I was up at 3 a.m. messaging Taylor Lorenz. Get a life. Get a life.
Words that you should use for yourself. You don't like it when you're criticized, and you don't really have much of a life. because you gave all of it up for pussy. Congratulations, I guess? I assume you're used to saying phrases which don't regularly feature on your stream, for example, would you like fries with that? If you've got that work permit in Canada, that is. Don't forget to say A at the end of the sentence, though. I'm going to mute what is now on the screen. It's a parasocial part of certain creators being spoken to in DMs and replying. It's not great, I'll admit. The part that matters is the next bit. It's a caricature. Ian doesn't like it.
Ian's covering Collargate right now on Twitch. He's also referencing this sub. Hell yeah, I am. Oh, I found it. Holy sh... This is the most insane thing ever.
So the wonderful thing about art is the appreciation of it, much like opinions, is subjective. Caricatures are a great demonstration of taking features of yours that stand out the most and enhancing it to the reductio ad absurdum territory. I think it's fantastic. If you did it to Ian, it would be his increasingly sized forehead and his very small chin, the ass-plucked facial hair, and maybe his eyes, because he doesn't really have... he's quite bland looking, even when he had a mullet and lipstick. With Anissa, there are other factors and features of her face that stand out a bit more because of expressions she has pulled over the time she's been a creator on OnlyFans. So is the art in and of itself bad or horrible or insulting? Not really. Why? Because it is a caricature.
We're a little bit used to it at this point, though. So, get this. It says, found on Fungus Island, totally normal, insane thing to receive on your birthday. So, this is an account from my former disgraced boxing coach, Stoic. His wife, she posted this on Instagram, and it is from Jessica Cassidy.
It's a very nice piece of art, and as you noticed in the message, it was clearly intended for a purpose. I like it. It feels thematic. It feels like effort was put in. Jessica clearly has talent. That's fantastic. I like it. I'm sensing some hostility on Ian already, because he's leading with full names, which means he wants them named and shamed, tarred and feathered. Hopefully they get more commissions.
You guys don't know who Jessica Cassidy is? I don't blame you. I don't want to know who this person is, but they've essentially been stalking Anissa and I for the past 2 years. Like, this is Froggy Fresh's wife.
Yes, I figured as much from reading the message from the Instagram story. It kind of gave itself away there. Froggy Fresh holds a grudge against you, and rightly so, after what you did with Creator Clash. Your reputation went down the drain around that time.
I don't want to talk about Froggy Fresh's wife, Jessica Cassidy, but she makes posts on Kiwi Farms. She has like 1 million sock puppet accounts where she's posting tons of deranged shit constantly since basically since Creator Clash 2. It's been non-stop. Anissa, I think a year or close to a year after Creator Clash 2, after Froggy Fresh was kicked from the card, she still got messages from Jessica Cassidy on her phone.
I'm assuming your wife, husband, the man of the house, hasn't realized that blocking numbers is a possibility, as is speaking to the authorities, if this was in fact stalking. And I don't care if someone uses Kiwi Farms or not. That's up to the individual, isn't it? You can look down on it, but how big's your thread now? I'm not the guy relying on Ethan Klein's subreddit for content, by the way.
And then she blocked her number. It was deranged. It was like paragraphs of... It was like, I want to meet up, and she was like threatening violence. A bunch of really creepy...
I'm not going to sit here and justify anyone being threatening in message form. Not even slightly. But if you want me to defend you in that respect, because I would, show the messages. Otherwise, it's just an assertion and I will dismiss it out of hand. I'm not going to defend someone because they say, listen guys, they sent me all of this. It's possible it was sent. It really is possible. But without proof, it's just poisoning the well.
Like, it was next level. We didn't talk to these people after we kicked them off of the card.
And that right there is the reason why you got so much criticism in message form. Because you cost Froggy Fresh a lot of money. You cost them time. The money part is important though. You kicked them off the event for nonsensical reasons. Don't try and revise history by saying it was for something important. We all know what happened. We remember it, and you handled it so poorly, it was hilarious. Didn't you replace Froggy Fresh with Chris Raygun, who couldn't have looked more out of place if you tried? That event was a massive disaster, and it was a disaster for many reasons. Kicking Froggy Fresh was one of them. It didn't even make money for charity. That's how bad it was, all because we need a little cry session, kumbaya afterwards together, guys. Let's hold each other's hands and put a thumb up each other's anuses, just so we can feel human again.
But she's still hyper-focused on us, and specifically Anissa. And, of course, disgraced boxing coach and Dumb as Rock's wife, Stoic, decided that it's a good idea to converse with this person.
I mean, they have mutual distaste towards you, so no doubt they will have in-jokes at your expense. If that is a problem for you, do tell us more, because your salt is quite delectable.
Who's doing this? She wrote her a birthday card. I hope your day is 34% better, with a picture of like a caricaturized picture of Anissa with a dog collar on.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that Idubbbz knows what the 34% is meant to represent. I'm going to assume, although it's equally possible he has no idea. So let's see how that salt unfolds.
Huge thank you to Froggy Fresh's amazing wife, psychotic, deranged freak, chronically online, tons of sock puppet accounts, cannot touch grass, physically impossible for her to touch grass. She has kids, by the way. And this is what by the way, Kate also has kids. Both of them have children. And this is what they're doing with their life. Insane.
So first, yes, you can be a parent. Not that you would know anything about that. And you can still be a crappy person or a funny person, depending on your interpretation of what it is you're consuming. Second, I'm sure they touch more grass than you do. You smoke it out of your wife's asshole. Third, using the "you're a parent" shtick to try and make it seem like they're supposed to be above this now. Please. You are remarkably antiquated with your interpretations of what it means to be a parent and whether or not you can still be a good parent if you're online.
Insane. Sick. Your humor and kindness totally made my day feel 34% better. It's so gross. And honestly, we don't talk about this. This is like, she messaged us a year later, and I was like, oh, like, this is like sick. Like, they have not moved on. They have not gone and done anything else. Like, she is obsessed with us.
As you are within the context of your livestream the arbiter of truth, why don't you provide proof of this, rather than stating it? Prove that they are obsessed and they have no life as well. Because again, that's another thing you're asserting. It is equally possible to be a evil do-gooder, yes, they contradict, in the online space. Right? It's possible to do that and make time to live offline. Tweeting, texting, posting on forums hardly takes up the majority of someone's day. If you have an IQ over, let's say, 30, a quick wit, a natural wit to be able to do that. So desperate to play the victim, a stoic victim at that like, you don't see just how easy it is to break that facade down quickly because your wife's within an earshot and you have to be seen defending her. So everything that makes her look bad is just gross. It's a caricature. Doesn't matter who it comes from. It's a really nice piece of art. If you want to own it, just print it and stick it on your wall or something.
At least with Ethan, at least with Pedo Troll, there's like it's being cataloged online. He's making a podcast every day about who he's harassing.
Well, in that case, if that's what's been going on, then surely you would show messages to do the same, to catalog it. That way, because it becomes a part of the internet, it becomes law, it becomes a catalogue, it becomes evidence in the online space that would then shine that negative light you so desperately want to shine with your audience, the dwindling one you have, onto Froggy Fresh, Froggy Fresh's wife, your ex-trainer, and your ex-trainer's wife. All because of a caricature, no less.
This person is essentially making posts on Kiwi Farms, stalking us, you know, looking up information about us, leaving tons of comments from sock puppet accounts.
You'll find that that is quite common, and I'm not justifying it, but it is quite common with those that fall within the designated title of lolcow, or slave and master, in the case of you and your husband-wife, cuck and the alpha. You being, again, the cuck. Because you're a lolcow, people do scrutinize more than ordinarily possible for other people. And there are many then that post all these forums you claim they use. Unless you prove this within your stream, you're just asserting it. You could, by the way, do that, if you could be asked. Clearly you've consumed this information from somewhere. Either you've gone to the farms and seen it, or somebody has sent it to you. Why not provide the proof? You used to be good at doing your own research. How has this gotten so difficult for your smooth brain now? Is it perhaps because of some kind of marriage-related lobotomy? Or is it because she took something away from your brain and your testicles?
And it's always very identifiable which one is her, because it's always like way too passionate about these particular details that would only be like relevant to her.
So you have no definitive proof beyond how someone writes a message or the structure of a sentence. I'm not saying it is or is not them just for the sake of it, but his ability to prove something is solely based on what can be perceived. It's a bit weak. It really is. Anyone that says otherwise, quite alright. Welcome to disagree with me on this, because unlike him, I don't just block people for appearing in Twitch chats. In their right, Ian, you are quite trigger happy on the block these days.
He types a lot. I also want to say this is kind of why I feel like the whole idea about us not giving stuff attention and people going away, like Jessica Cassidy is there's a lot of people we don't talk about, but this stuff, this has been happening since Creator Clash 2 ended, and it has not slowed down. And so
what? If you want to ignore it and not give it fuel, ignore it and don't give it fuel. All you ever have to do is continue to ignore it. Your ego and your pride is what is telling you to continually give it fuel. You're never going to be able to shake this off, I'm afraid. For as long as you're on the internet and you believe in a spouse that believes you believe in a spouse, behave the way you behave, you will always be treated the way you're treated. Again, I'm not justifying that. I'm stating this is a consequence of every choice you've made before. And for them, Froggy Fresh and Mrs. Froggy Fresh, it is how you treated Mr. Froggy Fresh. How you treated him was disgusting, and you failed to raise money for charity as well. A caricature is exactly that. A caricature. Don't be so offended by something that is an in-joke between them that you can't take because it isn't even a joke for you, it is because of you. Remember, they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you, and it's never going to stop. Again, not justifying, just stating reality.
I don't know, you get to the point where it's like, ignoring it, I think, is not... It doesn't matter.
Ian's tears would beg to differ on that one, I'm afraid, as would your response overall. He's called this insane, gross, disgusting. You, well, trying to be dismissive, failing miserably.
We can talk about the 34%. The 34% is just a reference to Creator Clash 3 when we transferred ownership and we basically said we don't want to cause any more problems to the event. It was revealed with the transfer that we were getting 34% of the, I want to use the right term, but essentially all the profits after the event had made its money back.
Which to many in the online space looked very immoral for something that was supposed to be for charity. And look how well Creator Clash 3 has turned out. Your involvement, even when removed from involvement, if anything, did more harm to the event anyway. Turns out you were never going to be as good at promoting boxing events as other YouTubers have, because really, you two were only interested in yourselves controlling everything and not bothering to listen to other people when you needed to listen to other people. And then when it came to taking responsibility, you just admitted, oh, we're too naive, we didn't understand. Really, you were micromanaging and you were purity testing people's involvement. And you gave bugger all to charity for the second event and, well, the third event, yes, well, that was magical, wasn't it now? Magical in the sense that it didn't happen.
It was split in three or four different ways. I think 3 different ways. Yeah, that's what it's a reference to. It's basically they're trying to paint us as bad people because we were getting a percentage of the event's profits.
You are bad people, and this lends credence to that belief. A charitable event should only ever be where profits all go to a charity. You shouldn't be receiving any percentage for anything like that. You getting profit would lead people to believe, myself included, that it was less about doing and raising money, doing good and raising money for charity, but lining your own pocket, which makes some sense. considering you now live in the basement of her parents' house. You can thank the Kino Casino for stalking them to know that.
Wasn't it meant to be a charity event, though? It was a charity event. The unfortunate part is the way charity events operate is that, especially with the third event, we didn't have the room to essentially be like, oh, the all profits go to charity because, Stoic. Yeah, all profits go to charity because we were now working with a company to fund the event in the first place.
In that case then, no money needed to go to you at all, because you were no longer recovering costs, which I can in that instance understand, vaguely. But reality is, if the money was not going to make enough money to be able to then pay for itself and then give to charity, then let's face it here, it's not profit. It's at best stolen charity money. Because you're working with somebody else, you don't need money from it. Unless you need money, that is.
And so, yeah, things changed from year 1. They didn't change year 2. We basically did everything the same year 2. But year 3, we had to change things. So we did, like, a way to, like, I don't know, get under our skin, mock us. Yeah, you can explain it.
Just before she femsplains or mansplains, depending on how you interpret Anissa's contributions to the online space, we're aware you had to make changes for year 3. Although after year 2, it would have been smarter to simply not bother with the third, because you were clearly too incompetent and too high on your own farts after the first one succeeded to be able to do it right. And that is entirely your fault. Your arrogance, your pride, is your undoing. You're too proud to admit earlier how badly you screwed it up, and it led you down this path. People mocking you? Yeah, get over yourselves. You're always going to be mocked for as long as you're on the internet now. Well, until you're suddenly red-pilled once again, I guess. Which won't really help you in the long run, I don't think, at this point.
Just like a little bit more context. We had to protect charity and make sure that charity was getting money. So charity was like, how most live charity events go is that you partner with the charity, you have people that are funding the event, and the people who are funding the event want their money back. You can't, like, have all the profits go to charity because it's not... The first 2 years, that was our money.
So unless you're throwing money into it, is it you investing in the event, or is it you taking a share of the action? This is an important distinction. You providing this context is useful, but only if you put money into it and then it becomes not profit. Since you walked away and were guaranteed a percentage, it implies you were getting profit.
100% that we were risking. The third year, we, 1, just couldn't risk our money, but 2, we wanted to, like, make sure charity was making money. So with the back end, 1, we didn't think we were going to make any money, period. So it didn't really matter what the agreement was. But, like, on the back end, if there was profit, there are 3 owners.
Honestly, the mental gymnastics involved in these statements alone just remind me of the bullcrap we got from the completionist. And yes, I've seen the completionist's more updated statement, which only proved just how inept Gerard was, and kind of still is. In this, we're getting more of that smug arrogance from somebody who's trying to justify something that isn't as much of a point as they'd like to think. And also it just embellishes on one little remark on a birthday card drawn by another person. It doesn't help you, because when anyone bothers to unpack your statements, they realise it's a load of bollocks, quite frankly, which is an apt summation of all that you do in the online space these days. Talk and take a lot of bollocks.
So the profit, like, in the contract, is just split that way. So when we relinquished ownership, it was basically just the company's way of saying, like, we're relinquishing all ownership, including stakes in the company. But we weren't expecting to make any money off of it.
I'm not surprised. After all the damage you two had done, and your reputation, Idubbbzz, being the only reason it succeeded the first time, it was unlikely to make anything at all. It didn't help that many more people pulled out because of what you two had done and how everything was being handled. But the fact remained, you were going to stand to make a third of the profits had it actually made anything, which on the face of it looked highly immoral for an event earmarked for charity to look like that. Unless you were going to state, by the way guys, we're just going to donate this to a charity, straight up, we'll even show you proof of it, blah blah blah. It seemed very wrong, which is why you, and rightly so, your husband, have been pilloried for this. You deserve it. You can try and obfuscate all you like, or deflect, or smokescreen, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. You deserved it.
If that makes sense.
But yeah, I think it's important to show you guys this because we do not want to, like, we want to definitely, like, move on from these people, but they have not moved on from us, so...
I took the liberty of looking at what Froggy Fresh is doing these days, and they are mostly active, well, as a TikTok creator. You'd know this if you bothered to watch them, but you're not really paying enough attention to that. They haven't been that active on YouTube, but they are uploading quite a lot and getting decent views on Shit Talk. You should probably give that consideration when you pay attention and assert that they are obsessed with you and not moved on from you, because they're still doing their own thing. I guess when you live in your own little echo chamber, you're not interested in paying attention to the world around you, only what confirms your own bias before you say something stupid anyway.
You know, we've been ignoring it for 2 years, basically, and, you know, at this point, like, they want to be known. All right, you want the attention, we'll give it to you. Jessica Cassidy has been stalking us for 2 years. She's been making sock puppet accounts, chatting all sorts of shit on loads of different videos, loads of different posts that we've made. When we were trying to do Creator Clash 3, she was posting on there, on all of those accounts. So yeah, it's been pretty nasty to see.
If it matters so much to you and you genuinely want to show the level of harassment or engage with it in a way that is constructive, prove it. Otherwise, all you're doing is just asserting cause. You keep talking about all these things. You talk about if you ignore it, it's not enough. You get involved, it's not enough. It won't stop. Okay? If you want to be above it and appear above it, rather than just simply acting like you're above it, prove you're above it. Show just how good you used to be now. Bite back with receipts and just show it, without crying and making it look like you're a soyful bish, which might be harder than it sounds. Especially when you know you can't win anyway. This is the consequence of the whole you two Doug. Deal with it. I guess we could say it's, to an extent, a gamer skill issue on life.
Obviously, we got to move on with our life, but, you know, what are you going to do? At least you guys know about it now.
I can answer a few of these points. When he said, what are you going to do? In your case, get a job. You mentioned moving on with your lives. You're a Twitch streamer. Is it really moving on with your life? Do you pay rent in that basement? And you are right. We now know, from your perspective, what is the 34% all about. What it is all about anyway. Greed, basically.
How is she not embarrassed? Well, she creates a lot of sock puppet accounts. So a lot of the cases she hasn't used her name. Yeah, I think she's just gotten more and more bold with it. I think she was probably hoping by saying, hey, I was in proximity of Ian and Anissa out of Denny's at one point. Like, I have all, like, I'm believable in my stories.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that the only reason you were in close proximity in a Denny's, although it is, I know, a joke from you to an extent, is because you work there. I assume, though, to make yourself seem more like you're, in with the crowd, you just say IHOP instead.
This will destroy you on X. Oh, no.
Dog, and you just moved 3 centimeters away from the bed?
Oh, God. Yeah, people have been really enjoying the, they've really been enjoying the memes and making their own little jokes or references to the Kaya. I hope Hasan is getting, some levity out of it. I know it's probably pretty annoying.
The memes have been marvellous, quite frankly, and if he can take a joke, great, but not at the expense of his dog. There should be an eye-opener that people are now paying more attention to him, the animal abuser. No levity involved here. You can laugh at a meme because it's a meme, but because we know it comes at the expense of a dog being harmed, there is no levity to be found. But since we also know Hasan does not really laugh at things, he doesn't have that natural relaxed demeanour, he's just too aggressive, black-pilled, and, well, broken. Not the fun kind like everyone else. You find that his defective mind just can't do anything positive. It is not in his nature. I don't wish for any hope or happiness or kindness for him for as long as he is being dismissive about the harm he has caused his pet.
And awful when it is your dog and it is your life. And especially you just wonder, like, how many people are laughing at that sort of shit because they believe it, you know? How many people are reposting it because they really believe it, and they're like, oh, this is a it's funny because true. He said memes are funny? All right, well then, good for him. I'm glad he's able to have some fun with it, I guess.
I'm so glad you're so well informed on these kind of situations, but you also can't be asked to call it out for what it is. Mostly out of cowardice because of how much your wife has sucked Hasan off before, and still does. It is tragic that Hasan finds it funny rather than simply take accountability and be better. But then Hasan has never been able to back down when he's wrong, even when proven wrong, repeatedly proven wrong. It is a sorry state for social media that there are far too many people propping that idiot up. Somebody who will never defend you, by the way. He'll vaguely say something in passing, but what's more important to him is his show. If you're a prop in his show, you must fill your space and not come off it. I am somewhat surprised that the shock collar he puts on his dog wasn't put on you when you were on his show sat on that crappy little chair. Because why bother getting a decent chair for a guest to sit on when they can sit on one that usually has someone wearing a dunce hat or gets paddled on when they're naughty? Now, I could do more, but let's face it, the bingo card in the corner that you saw filling up just shows how repetitive Idubbbzz is in stream form. I also don't have enough time as I need to make some shorts. Crime ones, whiskey ones, pet ones, which will all be here of course. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for being here. I am on Twitch and also streaming here later. There's also an episode Not Worth a Cork on Moistly Live later. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.